All right, well, to get started with Chapter 6, we're going to take a look at this page here. There is a warm-up activity right after this in your book. I'll have you guys go ahead and do all those prerequisite skills. But here's kind of Chapter 6 at a glance here. It's fairly short. We should be through with it in just a couple of weeks. If you guys will look at the schedule, you'll have to pardon the 2-year-old in the videos. He can't be quiet for very long. 6.1 is talking about integers, and that's the set of all positive and negative counting numbers. Then we're going to be comparing and ordering integers, again dealing with negatives and positives. You guys should be pretty good on understanding where they are on a number line. Fractions and decimals on a number line. In other words, we're going to be talking about the set of real numbers or rational numbers on a number line. Things that aren't integers but are still numbers that we deal with on a regular basis. Absolute value, and then we're going to finish up the chapter with dealing with the coordinate plane. To start off with, we have a couple definitions here, you guys. It should not be too new to any of us, really. We have the set of positive numbers are the numbers that are greater than 0, and they can be written with or without a positive sign. Very rarely will you see something where there's a positive sign written in front of the number. If you're talking about the number 20, you're just going to say 20. The one thing I do want to bring to your guys' attention is that when we have a problem, and I still have students that struggle with this sometimes, we sometimes don't understand the sign of our numbers when we are given a math problem. So if I give you just some numbers to combine, and I ask you what the sign of the term is, and it doesn't matter whether these are just numbers or whether they have variables with them. We could put variables with them too, and that would change it a little bit. But in terms of what sign is the number, this negative 3x is attached to the 3, so that term is negative. The 4 is positive, so the 4 is going to be a positive number. Again, there's a minus sign in front of 5, so that whole term is negative. Plus sign in front of 10, so that whole term is positive. So that's kind of where they come into it with putting the plus sign in front of those numbers there. Anytime you see a negative sign, though, in front of a number, that means that that term or that number is always negative. Two numbers that are the same distance from 0 on a number line, but on opposite sides of 0 are called opposites. And again, you guys know things like that, like negative 3 and 3 are opposites of each other. I don't know, negative 100 and 100 are opposites of each other. The first thing we're going to talk about here, the key idea is integers. And again, integers are the set of whole numbers and their opposites. Again, what I like to put for my definition of integers, and you guys can write this down, you guys can put they're the set of positive, so they're the positive and negative counting numbers. And again, when we talk about counting numbers, you think about when you played hide and seek. You think about 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Counting numbers are not things like 1/2 or anything like 0.3. There's no fractions or decimals in counting numbers. So those do not fall within the set of integers. Whole numbers are only the positive counting numbers, so that's why it says the set of whole numbers and their opposites. Typically when I teach students about number sets, I give them a Venn diagram, and if you guys want, we can go over that at another time. But for right now, let's just focus on integers. So the first set of examples we have here are going to be pretty straightforward. Writing a positive and negative integer. The directions here say write a positive or negative integer that represents the situation, and we have quite a few of these. You just have to kind of pay attention to what's going on in the word problem. It says a contestant gains 250 points on a game show. So again, what sign would that number be? Well, if they gain 250 points, it's obviously going to be positive. So as far as your answer goes in your homework, you can just put 250. You don't have to put plus 250. The next one says gasoline freezes at 40 degrees below 0. Well, we don't want to make below 0 be positive, so obviously we want to make that 40 degrees be negative. And you guys can put degrees as well if you want, and you guys can put points here if you want. But since it says just write a number that represents a situation, I would not mind if you didn't put a label on them for now. So again, don't look too hard at this. It's very simple. You just have to write a number that represents what's going on. So again, this is the point where you guys want to pause and try these for it shouldn't take you very long. Our homework is going to seem long in some of the sections in this chapter, but it's mostly because we have problems like this. It's something that you can read and write down a number and then have the answer and be done. There's really little math involved for most of this chapter. So again, make sure you pause and try these on your own first. Alright, so now that you've tried them, we have a hiker climbs 900 feet up a mountain. Well, 900 feet up a mountain is going to be positive. So again, you could write positive 900 or you can just write 900. Number 2, you have a debt of $24. Well, if you have a debt, you owe someone money. So you're going to say minus 24. And again, you could put dollars in front of that if you want. A student loses 5 points for being late to class. Number 3, we're going to say if they lose something, they're going to go negative. A savings account earns $10. Again, we're gaining money when we earn money, so we're going to say 10 is positive. So 900, negative 24, negative 5, and positive 10. Graphing on a number line. I will have you guys put this, and it'll seem kind of tedious at first, but when we get into absolute values and graphing decimals and fractions, we'll actually have some number sense shown. I feel like a lot of kids today are kind of lacking that, so we're going to go ahead and do this in our homework as well. Your number line doesn't have to be too complex, so if our number's 3, we're going to do it pretty similar to what they did in the book. You're going to draw a number line and go at least one past it on each side. You don't have to go clear to 5. So if I know that my first number is 3, I'm going to start at 0, and I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, and like I said, I'm going to say go one past it for right now, because when we go to do our integers, or excuse me, our fractions and decimals, I'm going to want you to go one past it as well. So I'm going to go negative 3, or excuse me, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, and negative 4. And like I said, the distance between the hashes don't really matter, just the fact that they're there is fine. So first of all, it says graph each integer and its opposite. So for the number 1, we would say there's 3, and it's 3 units from 0. I have to go 3 units from 0 the other way. We should all know that the opposite is negative 3 as well. Number 2, we'll do in a different color here real quick. Example B, we have negative 2, and it's 2 units away from 0. We want to go 2 units away from 0 to the right, so we plot our point at positive 2. Okay, it says you deliver flowers to an office building. You enter at ground level and go down 2 floors to make your first delivery. Then you go up 7 floors to make your second delivery. Write an integer that represents each position. So ground level would be 0. They're answering the question here at A. So position A, you enter at ground level, that's 0. Says you go down 2 floors, that would be negative 2, and then you go up 7 floors, that would be positive 7. So again, they wrote that out there, and then it says write an integer that represents how you return to ground level. Well, if I'm starting here and I go down 2 and then up 7, I'm not clear up to 7th floor. I started at negative 2 and went up to 7, so I'm only at 5. So to get back to ground level, I would have to go down 5. So that's how they got their answer there, negative 5. Okay, so on numbers 5 through 8, we're going to do them on a number line. You guys can do them all on one number line and put the different numbers and make sure you label them. I'm going to just draw the number line now. Again, make sure you guys pause and try these on your own. Okay, so for numbers 5, 6, 7, and 8, I did my best to try and fit them on there. Obviously, I couldn't get negative 12 on there, so I'll have to extend this for number 7 a little bit and just have to use our imagination. But for number 5, we have 6 and negative 6, so we go clear back here. There's number 5. Number 4, we have negative 4 and positive 4. There's those two. Number 7, we have negative 12, and we'll just put it over here, and positive 12. And number 8, we have 1, and we'll put negative 1 right there. So again, your piece of paper, you'll be able to do a little bit better job. It's kind of hard to write on the iPad screen. Number 9, though, here it says in example 3, if you go up 9 floors to make the second delivery, write an integer that represents how you will return to ground level. I'll kind of try and draw what we did there. So we started at 0, and then we went down 2. So we went down 2 floors. So we were at basement 2 or whatever. So we can put negative 2. And then from there we went up 9 floors. So we go up 9 floors. And when we go up 9 floors again, we are at 0. And then when we go up 9 floors, what we're going to end up at is 7. So to get back to ground level, at the end of the problem, we would have to go negative 7. So number 9, you're going to say negative 7 instead of negative 5. Check the schedule for your homework assignment, guys. And again, you guys make sure you're reading all the directions, and it should be pretty straightforward.